The record button. We're recording. Hey, good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to the Kong Family Show. We have got an exciting episode for you today. We have got the incredible Ian Rood on the show today, and man, he's going to be dropping some serious golden nuggets out there on the family today. He's just going to be running around sprinkling pixie dust on all of us. So this is going to be good. And so anyway, I just wanted to mention to everybody that, you know, we are the Kong family, and we have this really simple goal. We just want to change the world. And hey, you might think that's crazy, but that's exactly what we're doing, baby. And as my buddy Sean Wetzel, my partner in crime, he can't be here today. He's got busy stuff going on, and he likes to say, one glass of 9.5 at a time. And I like to add, and one awesome person and one lightning bolt in a box at a time. And so, you know, that's what we're doing here. We're the Kong family, and we are changing the world. And a big, huge part of that is people like Ian. And so, Ian, I just wanted to have you introduce yourself to people. Where are you at? Where are you coming from?
I am coming to you from Bentonville, Arkansas.
Bentonville, Arkansas. I hear they let anybody live in Arkansas. Is that true?
Well, you know, it is the home of Walmart.
That is most definitely true. They'll let anybody live in Arkansas.
I think there's an entire website dedicated to that.
Oh, that's classic. Oh, that's great. So how's the weather in Arkansas today?
It's been great this week, and then it actually got really cold again today. So for the past couple of months, it hasn't really known what it was going to do. We didn't have a real winter, but it'll be 60 degrees one day and 20 the next.
Wow. You get 20 degrees down there. Oh, wow. That's amazing. I'd have thought it'd be hot and humid down there all the time, you know.
We've had some 0-degree days. So
down there in the land of the Razorbacks.
Yep.
So yeah, that's great. And so it looks like you're in your office. Are you in a clinic type thing, or is this an office in your home that you're in right now? I'm
at my clinic in Bentonville.
Oh, okay. So, and what kind of a clinic do you run, or what? Why don't you drop a little bit about that on everybody real quick?
Yeah. So a little bit of background on me and how I got into this, because nobody really understands what it is I actually do. But I started out in emergency medicine. I was a paramedic. I got into that in 2005, just wanted to be on the fire department. So I joined a volunteer fire department and changed the entire course of my life and career in a very short amount of time. I got into healthcare immediately and spent the next 10 years of my life building a career. And in 2015, I sprained my shoulder working as a paramedic. And about 4 months after that, nobody could tell me why I was literally just feeling like I was burning alive, being ripped limb from limb off of just a shoulder sprain. And I was diagnosed with a condition. It's a really rare condition. You actually asked about it the other day. It's called complex regional pain syndrome. Okay. And it's categorized as the most painful form of chronic pain in existence. It's a 46 out of 50 on the McGill Pain Index. So it's ranked higher than untrained childbirth or amputation of a limb. And I went down the traditional Western medicine route. I tried the drugs. It got to the point where I had a doctor tell me that probably the only option for me was to cut the nerves out of my arm or just cut my arm off. And I'm right-hand dominant. And at that point, I basically said, heck no, I'm going to get another opinion. I ended up seeing 7 doctors in 2 years. Nobody could give me anything that really gave me any hope even. And I went outside of that system, that model, and I started looking for every alternative treatment. Took college classes for cannabis. I was going to find anything that could help me. And I became a neurotherapist. Found a technology that gave me my quality of life back. And so what I do now is I work with people to reprogram their nervous system for faster healing and high performance. I don't treat or cure disease. I'm a recovering medical professional, right? So now I'm taking it from that health and wellness and fitness model, and we're looking at how can we stop this thing in its tracks before it reaches that component where you have to look to the medical doctor to help you get your health back in order. And so that's what we do. I actually look for deficiencies in the body, and then we allow people to exercise using our newbie technology that you see back here. I'm a new fit practitioner. And so it's an exercise functional neurology based program. And the super hydrating antioxidant water is a huge component of that, because we're electrical water beings.
Wow. You know, that's kind of cool, because what you just said there kind of leads me into what is always my first question and my biggest curiosity with all the people that are gracious enough to bless us with their time and come on the show is I'm always curious, you know, how, you know, you just explained the why, but, you know, the how and when did you get involved with Kangen water? And when you found out about it, were you a skeptic like I was, or did you just like jump right in real quick and go, yeah, this is exactly what I need? Or were you like, what a bunch of garbage. Hey, water's water. It's ridiculous. You know?
I think whenever everybody finds out about Kangen, they want to believe that water is H2O, because our entire science-based model behind hydration and really health looks at water from a chemical model. Water is H2O. And I think Sam Tran, whenever I had dinner with him, he put that to an easy component. And that's, well, do you want to drink water out of the faucet or out of the toilet bowl? So don't tell me all water is the same, right? And so, yeah, whenever I was introduced to it, I met Philip Harp actually at a business after hours, and it was really loud. It was a party. Everybody was introducing themselves. I thought he said that he sold Culligan water. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, I've got a facility. Sure, I'll take your card if I need to put a water jug in, but I can just do bottled, right? And so I ended up looking him up, and I saw that he sold a water ionizer. And initially, I kind of did the whole, let's look up this company on Google, right? And I went, okay, you know, it's an MLM. Good for him, but maybe not for me. Well, he reached out to me and said, I want to meet up with you, because he was interested in what I did. And in that, of course, we got to talking about what he did, and he used the term electrolyzed reduced water, which at the time, you know, what I knew about the properties of molecular reduction was what I had read in Ty Bollinger's book, so I was familiar with that term. I didn't make the correlation between the two, between this machine that I could set on my counter and this thing over here that was doing something to rid the body of metabolic waste at a rate that we have a difficult time comprehending, right? And so I did what any smart person should do. I went on PubMed and I started researching electrolyzed reduced water. And then I looked up a book of research case studies. It was actually, I was turned on to this path, and he said, look up Dr. Horst Filzer, look up Dr. Michael, look at what his daughter Skylar went through with gastroschisis, where her intestines were born on the outside of her body. And he tried every water ionizer on the market and settled on the gold standard, man, Kangen water, because it's the one that made the difference. Right. And at that point, it made sense. I was sold, because I could put a method to what I perceived as madness and recognize that we have the holy grail of science sitting in our hands, because that's what everybody's searching for, man. They're searching for the fountain of youth. They're searching for that thing that they can put into their lives and they can affect change on a level that was thought to be impossible. And that's what we have our hands on.
Wow. So you ended up, from talking to Sam, you did your research, and then of course you decided to
I was talking to Philip Harp. I met Sam Tran a couple of weeks ago because we hit it off on Facebook and he was in town.
Oh, okay. So you weren't talking, I was thinking you were talking about Sam Tran that had introduced you to it, but so it was someone else that introduced you to it.
Yeah.
And so you started doing your research, and you did the right kind of research. And so from doing that, what was the next step for you from there? You said, "Give me my machine. I need it now." Yesterday.
So what actually happened, of course, I've got a chronic illness, right? And I'm an extremist by nature. So I make no excuses for it, but I don't suggest that everybody do what I do. But Philip and Loretta gave me this water, and I said, okay, I'll try this water, and kind of set aside my skepticism for a moment. Of course, I'm drinking this water expecting to see a placebo effect, and so I thought, I already eat really clean. I don't drink sodas. I've cut this other aspect out of my life. My wife and I are completely whole food. We're almost to the point of raw food. And whenever we do take meat, we try and avoid things that are bad for us, and we try and only take in things that are wild caught or raised in a certain way because we understand the complexity. But we would need a whole nother call for that conversation. So I said, all right, you're telling me to drink a half gallon to a gallon of water a day. I'll try this. And from the moment that I started drinking the water, I noticed that it tasted better. It didn't leave a dry taste on my tongue like the chlorinated water does that we get out of the tap, even when it's filtered. And I noticed that my body responded differently from the moment that this water went inside. After a few weeks of that, doing this water trial and drinking a gallon a day, I ran out. And I could not drink enough water to quench my thirst. By the time I got another gallon of Kangen, I put away the gallon in a minute, man. I chugged it. And it went inside. And after that, I'm moving around and doing stuff. I'm not waterlogged. Well, you and I understand the mechanism behind that because it's going directly to the cells.
Yeah.
You can absorb 97% of that. At the time, I wasn't quite as educated on the water, so I just knew that it was really making a difference. I didn't fully understand it. And but that was enough of a kind of a spark for me to say, I've got to put one of these in my home, and I need to put one of these in my clinic, because we're increasing the efficacy of exercise anywhere between, we'll just say 200 and 200%. So everything that you get with exercise, the fatigue, the lactic acid buildup, the delayed onset muscle soreness, all that, multiply that by 5. And I mean, people are actually getting a week's worth of workout in 45 minutes every time they come to see me. And so by introducing this into our facility, people start recovering faster. They start performing better. It was no longer just me that was experiencing it. It was my wife. And so we did the demo SD501 in the house for a couple of weeks, and then that was kind of the impetus for me to say, I want the K8, I want the strongest machine available, I want the strongest Kangen water available for me, my family, and the people that we're helping.
And that right there, brother, that was the wisest decision you ever made in your life, right?
It's a 25-year investment, man, at least.
I met a guy who's had his machine for, at the time I met him, which was 2 years ago, he's had his machine for 35 years at that point. He said, I've had my machine for 35 years and it still works just as good today as when I got it from Japan 35 years ago. That was 2 years ago. So that means his machine is probably 35 or 37 years old now, and it's still cranking away. These things are built to last. They're built to last for a lifetime, and in Magic, I think they just want to under-promise and over-deliver. And so that's why they say the shorter lifespans of them. But the truth is, if people take care of them, they'll probably last for their whole lives. They're so incredibly built. And, that's once again, we could take a whole nother show and talk about that. And we probably will someday, because that's what we really want to do. I'd love to get you on a show in the near future and talk extensively about, all of this stuff and how we can help people change their lives. That's what we're doing. That's how we're changing the world, is by changing people's lives. And so the next thing I'd like you to kind of, this syndrome that you have, I've got a nephew who has RSD. I'm not sure how that compares to what you're dealing with. But
CRPS and RSD are one and the same.
yeah, he's in a miserable, horrible situation. It's because of a knee surgery that he had. After that knee surgery, he ended up with a situation where like his foot was burning. It literally felt like his foot was on fire. And I'm trying to get him to get on board with this and that. And he's, you know, he's got the whole defeatist mindset of, oh, it's too expensive. And it's like, he doesn't care about his foot burning off. And I'm hoping that your testimony is going to kind of help him change that aspect. And so what I would appreciate if you could expand on real quick is just, you know, what has drinking the water helped your body do for itself to be able to, you know, curtail that situation and, you know, help alleviate it.
So if you've got just a couple of minutes, I can put this to an easy component, and I am in my facility. I teach on this very topic. So I'm going to move you over. That way I can access my whiteboard real quick.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Yeah. HoooDeeeHoooo. Hey, Thomas, we'll get your question in here in a second.
Well, he's talking about nerve damage, and I had, you know, surgery on the bottom of my foot, and they damaged the nerves, which halfway up my leg is the feeling, and half my foot, I don't have any feeling because of the nerve damage that happened in 2011. So I've been regenerating my nerves and working on them as well. So I'm antsy to listen to what you have to say on how you're working with people on the nerve rehabilitation. Awesome.
Yeah, that's what this is all about. We're putting people together. We're hooking people up. We're putting people that can help each other together. So this is awesome, Thomas. Hopefully Ian can help you out in that department. And, you know, so HoooDeeeHoooo. Carry on, my friend.
So, and here's the thing. Science is changing. We say it takes about 20 years to field a study and get results, right? And so we've always looked at pain as an input. Like I've got tennis elbow, I've got an issue with my arm, that's going to send a pain signal to my brain. So whenever I got injured, I knew about the nervous system. Everybody recognizes that we have one, right? What most people don't realize is that the brain and the spinal cord, the neural tree, actually controls everything in your body. And your nervous system is divided into two branches. One of those you have to think about what you're doing, and one of them happens automatically. And that branch of the nervous system, called the autonomic nervous system, automatic nervous system, man, that controls your breathing, that controls your heart rate, that controls how the blood flows through your body, and that controls your pain response. And so working in the modern medical field for as long as I did, I looked at all these people because I was taught to look at it this way. These people come into the hospital, they come into the emergency room, and they say, I'm in pain. And we test out the wazoo looking for the source of their pain. And they say, oh, well, my doctor's diagnosed me with this that starts with an F, and I'm not going to use labels or terms because I'll tell you what, brother, the American Medical Association owns all the diagnostic codes for treating disease, and the treatments that they use are pharmaceutical medications, and they own the patents on all the pharmaceutical medications through the big pharma companies. And if you say that you are treating or curing anything outside of the model that they've set forth, they will shut you down. So I want to make it very clear before I go into this topic of conversation to state for the record, this video is for educational purposes only. This is not meant to replace your doctor. Do not take this as medical advice. We're going to talk about the body as a machine and the components of that machine and how we can make that machine work better. If you apply these things to your life, your quality of life, something in your life is bound to improve. If you stop doing these things and you go back to your Diet Coke and McDonald's habit and keep putting that poison into your body, you're going to end up paying the piper later with maintenance, and it's going to be expensive and you won't have an option. So what I found is that with my condition with CRPS, there was an injury that I had, and there were a lot of factors that went into me getting stuck in this loop, which we'll call an inflammatory loop. But basically, the body all day, every day is trying to keep you alive. The body is trying to survive as a whole. And the body does that through things like sensing. My eyes are closed. I know my arm is out here. I know how to control my arm. And I can recognize where I'm at in space. That's called proprioception, all right? Positional perception. If my eyes are open, my proprioception is going to increase. If I close my eyes and I stumble around and start hitting furniture, I'm going to immediately get a reflex, right? Startle reflex. Everything's going to tighten and close up. So caveman sees a tiger. Tiger's about to pounce on him. Man, I got to get away from this tiger. The body is going to shift, right? So he's out foraging for food. All of a sudden, this tiger comes along. Nervous system kicks into high gear. Now he's running sympathetic, baby. Pupils are going to dilate. Blood is going to shun away from the outer extremities and go towards the core. His heart's going to speed up. His respirations are going to speed up. He's going to dump adrenaline, and then his body is going to get a stress response. And that stress response is a cortisol release, and it's an increase in metabolism that causes metabolic waste and acid. That metabolic waste is acid, right? Every time we work out, we produce lactic acid in the body and the muscles, and then we have to flush that out. That's why you get the muscle burn. So if you've ever been in a situation where somebody cuts you off in traffic and you react, and then all of a sudden, oh, that person shouldn't have done that, and you're shaking for 2 hours. Well, it's because your body has gone up into this response and it's not doing what it needs to do. As soon as you rise to meet that challenge, your body has to be able to come back to here, and it says, okay, we've expended this energy, this sugar and oxygen, these adenosine triphosphate molecules have been used up. We've got to replenish that. So the sympathetic branch shuts down, and the parasympathetic, the rest and digest, takes over from the fight or flight, so that the body can come back to normal, to homeostasis, what we all want, right? So you come down here, you eat a meal, hopefully a good clean meal that your body can get nutrients out of, and then all of a sudden you get food coma. Okay, and your body starts absorbing that nutrients and digesting it. And if your nervous system is functioning perfectly, every time you eat a meal, within about an hour and a half, you should be able to go to the bathroom and you should be able to excrete that waste. And there's a chart called the Bristol stool chart that looks at human excrement, feces, and kind of the condition of that and how the digestive system is functioning. And where you want to be is a number 4. It's right in the middle, and the quality of what you defecate says so much about the overall health of your body, because digestion is 90% of the battle. That gut flora, everything. It all starts in the stomach. It starts with putting good gasoline in the machine. And that means good water, man, because we are 75% water. The blood lipid transport, every mechanism in the body, the medium for that is water. The blood is 90% water. So we have to be properly hydrated, because if your blood is thick and viscous and you don't have good circulation, then you're going to end up, all of a sudden you're in a stress response, you're in an inflammatory state because your body's getting stressed out just trying to circulate the blood to your tissues. So what I realized with any condition, and we don't have to put a label on it, pain is an output from the brain. And when I started drinking this water, the first thing that I noticed is my pain decreased. My swelling of my hand that I couldn't use decreased. My arm started to get warmer instead of being 10 degrees colder than my other arm, and I didn't feel like somebody was trying to pull my hand apart. CRPS is a horrible disease, and if you can just picture setting your hand down on a hot stove and combining that with basically putting your hands in the snow until they almost go numb, pull them out until they start to rewarm, and then stick them back in there again. 2nd degree frostbite with blisters. And I noticed my pain decreased. I noticed I started sleeping again. And not only did I start sleeping again, I started dreaming again for the first time in 2 years. And before that, I worked in EMS, so my dreams were always nightmares. My dreams were always situations that I found myself in with faces that I couldn't forget and images that I wanted to get out of my mind. And so I taught myself not to dream. I taught myself not to go into REM sleep. I slept light because I was always waiting for something to happen. I was always ready to react. And then I get injured and I find myself in this. So I noticed not only did I start sleeping better, I started dreaming again. And they weren't nightmares. So let me explain the nervous system to you in 10, 15 seconds. They'll give you a great component, right? You don't go into REM sleep, you don't heal. That's where the brain downloads new memories. That's where the nervous system regenerates, and that's where your body repairs tissues. If you are not dreaming, you are not healing. If you have nightmares, your dreams are sympathetic dominant, which means that your body is in fight or flight whenever it's trying to rest or recover. If you dream in black and white, you are not going as far into REM sleep as if you dream in color. So what we want to see people do is have good, vivid, pleasant dreams in color and have a nervous system that's able to come back from that car accident. You get jittered and you take a deep breath through the diaphragm and your body resets and you say, okay, now I can go home and I can deal with this, or now I can go to work and I can do what I need to do. Because otherwise what you end up with is a concept that Dr. Eric Cobb teaches on called the threat bucket. And remember, we're looking at pain as a neurological response to perceived threat. Pain and injury are poorly correlated. So you can have pain and not have injury. You can have injury and not have pain. I've got people who come in here with adhesive capsulitis, frozen shoulder. Their body is protecting. There's no longer injury. It's not that they have something in the shoulder from a mechanical restriction perspective, other than those muscles are shortened, not allowing them to move, because the neurological signal is we have to stabilize this shoulder because of this injury. And so what we do is teach the body that it's okay to move in these areas, and then we train the body to get into those areas. But if we look at pain as a neurological response to a perceived threat, you've got your threat bucket here. And if everybody can see this, so you get up in the morning and you have your cup of coffee, and it's not made with Kangen water because all water is the same. So you get it out of the tap and you don't realize that you're ingesting chlorine and fluoride and whatever else is in the water. And you live in a place like I do in Bella Vista, Arkansas, where your water quality report is off the chart for 6 months, and you've got all kinds of impurities that are leading to all kinds of issues in people's bodies that they're having to go to the doctor for, we'll just say. And so your cup of coffee, caffeine is also a stimulant. You've been really tired this week, and so, man, you're just waiting for that cup. Hits your lips, and it's like a cup full of goodness, man. Coffee is a hug in a cup, right? Well, what you don't realize is that caffeine and all that stuff that you just put into your body is actually giving your body a response to perceive a threat, because you're activating your nervous system. Well, what you're not even thinking about is that knee sprain that you had when you played football in high school. But every time the weather changes, that knee bothers you. And the doctors checked it out. They can't find anything on the x-ray or the MRI, but you know that every time it rains, you feel it because your knee starts giving out and you got pain all the way down into your foot. And it just so happens you got a storm brewing. So you get dressed, take a shower, pop a couple of ibuprofen, which are toxic to your kidneys, but man, they're going to stop that inflammation in its tracks. What you don't realize is you just filled a receptor site for a molecule and you put toxins in your body that's going to have to flush out. Stress your system some more. Then you get to the highway, you're on your way to work, somebody cuts you off, and oh my goodness, why did you do that to me? I can't believe these people, kids texting on their cell phone, they're not even paying attention to the road. Oh, what's going on here? Why don't people pay attention? You get to work and your boss says, why didn't you do that work? It was due over the weekend. We had to turn that in today. You're fired. All of a sudden you reach a stress component and that knee blows out as you're carrying your stuff to the car and you get hit with pain. You have just outstripped your body's ability to buffer the acid waste, and you've created a situation where your body, every time you turn around, every little thing is sending you into panic mode, And all of a sudden, your body is going to need an output to get rid of that stress, get rid of that cortisol, get rid of that inflammation, whatever it is. And so your output becomes pain. That's the people that say, I always carry my tension in my shoulders. That's the people that say, I have fibromyalgia and the doctors can't tell where my pain is coming from. That's the people that have the knee injury that happened 27 years ago that they've never fully recovered from.
That's me right there, buddy. You know, my knee, my knee always hurt when I always knew I've had 3 knee surgeries on my left knee, and I'm a flooring guy for a living for 30 years. And every time it rained, every time the weather was changing, I knew it. I felt it, and it hurt. And that's been probably the single greatest gift that I've had from Kangen water, as far as my health is concerned, is that I don't have that barometer, as I would always call it. I have a barometer in my knee. I could tell you when the weather's going to get crappy, but I don't have that anymore. I haven't had that now for 2 years, and that has been a tremendous blessing to my life. And so, you know, that's that. So how does all that, I mean, what was your situation in your life with your shoulder and such that created that kind of stuff that, you know, that was filling up your pain bucket? What kind of stuff was going on with you that you think triggered your situation with your shoulder and what you were describing to us?
I think it had a lot to do with post-traumatic stress, and I was in a very stressful state. The environment that I was working in was an environment that was dominated by type A personalities. And there was a certain competition, but there was also, I went to an organization that had a heavy structure for hazing. And so you really have to earn your dues. And you think about the lifestyle of somebody who's in EMS anyway. I was working, before I started that job, I was working over 100 hours a week in a very stressful environment, dealing with things that, I mean, as human beings, we're just not designed to see. And then whenever I took the test for this other job, because there's a physical aptitude test and you have to test your mental capacity and just everything. You go through all kinds of evaluations. And this was a very physically demanding test. Whenever I took it, it was in the middle of winter. You talk about, 20-degree days. I think the wind chill was -10. And I'm out here dragging fire hose and dummies through a parking lot and hitting a sled with a sledgehammer. And by the time you're done, you're out there in a t-shirt and you're dripping with sweat and you're so hot that your body's steaming. And so it's these kind of things all day, every day. And it builds up in the human body because we don't allow ourselves to come back from that. And whenever I started really looking at this water and I started really understanding how this water works, you can't buy bottled water in the store and get the same thing because it's the electrical charge in the water. You can't add sodium bicarbonate to something and call it electrolyzed reduced water or hydrogen water. We understand that pH stands for potential hydrogen, but this is an electrical process, man.
Yeah.
And I read a book called The Body Electric, and I started to understand that everything before it's a chemical process is an electrical process that we're trying to fix with chemicals. So we're never getting to the root cause. And now what I do is I create a controlled environment in my facility where I increase the stress on my body to probably 10 to 20 times what I'm going to experience out there in the real world. So that means I'm putting this machine on my muscles, I'm turning it up to the point where I can barely move, and I'm falling forward and catching myself before my face hits the floor from arms down at my side. Or I'm stepping off of a chair into a lunge or into a squat, and I'm landing so that you almost can't hear my feet hit the floor because my muscles turn on that fast and absorb that impact so that it doesn't go where it's not designed to go. I'm maintaining my balance. I'm doing these exercises with my eyes open and my eyes closed because it's not that I've healed myself from this condition. I still have this condition. That's why I try and tell people It's that I've trained my body to be able to take that stressful situation, and I can put myself into a situation like that and keep just cool as a cucumber, man. And that's what allows me the quality of life that I have.
That is so incredible. I mean, this is so awesome. Gosh, I'm so appreciative that you came on here today. We're going to learn so much good stuff. This is just amazing. So I'm always, one of the questions I always ask is, of most people, because, people like myself, it's like, yeah, well, help with my knee and my acid reflux went away. And I also want to stress one thing really quick for everybody that's going to be hearing this, is that, this water is a gift. It's a gift that was given to us by God and Mr. Ashiro. The thing that does all the healing is this thing right here, baby. This is the machine. This is the miracle. People call this miracle water, magic water, that kind of stuff. The miracle and the magic is right here. And this thing right here that runs on 120 millivolts and hydrogen. And this is what does the fixing. This is what does the healing. All we're doing is simply giving it the gift that it needs, the energy, the fuel that it needs to be able to fix itself. And so my curiosity is with your place that you're using this, and I'd imagine that pretty much everybody that comes in that wants to utilize your system, that wants to pay you to help them cure whatever is ailing them, that the first protocol is right here. You need this water. And so what kind of, we're always about stories. Stories are what changed. That's what changed my life, was a story. So what kind of stories do you, are there any, like a couple of stories that really stand out? Somebody that came in with this, that, or the other that within a short period of time, their machine had fixed itself because it got what it needed. Do you have any awesome sauce besides your own story that you can drop on us?
Absolutely. And I'll speak to one point, not necessarily curing what's ailing them. I try and stay away from any of that language so that nothing can be misconstrued later on, because we are in a career, in a profession that we have to be very careful how we represent ourselves so that people can't say that we said something that we didn't. That being said, yes, the water is a huge component, because if I'm looking at the body as a electrical process, and I've got all this oxidative stress in the body that's causing this free radical cell damage, right? And we know that a free radical is just, it has a positive charge. It's a cell with a positive charge. It's got an unpaired electron with a negative charge. And the reason why this water is the most powerful antioxidant on the planet is because it has an abundance of electrons. And so it's not like you would normally think of an antioxidant as a pill or a potion, or, having to go, you ingest it and it goes into your stomach and then it's digested and then it goes out through the tubes, right? The water is electrochemical. It has electrons, baby. We are electrical beings. As soon as this water goes in, it's going everywhere.
Yeah.
And if we look at stress and inflammation as the same way that we do with the way that metal rusts, and we take this from an engineering side of things, from an engineering perspective, and we look at cathodic protection. So you're putting in utilities and you have metal in there, you have to ground out your metal, and you have to make sure that the metal keeps a negative charge so that rust doesn't eat it up through oxidation. Our bodies do the same thing, and we laugh about that as aging. But every day you have cells in your body that are either going to stay healthy or turn free radical. And all that comes down to is that little electron, man. You got to keep your charge negative, because that's where you're going to be able to fight that inflammation. That's where you're going to be able to shed that fat, rid those toxins from your system, and you're going to be able to start your body's path to its innate ability to heal, because that's the way that we were designed. God did give us water. And I think it's Exodus that says, worship the Lord your God in all that you do, and his blessings will be on your food and water, and you will not be sick, you will not go hungry, your women will not be barren or miscarry, you will enjoy a long and healthy life.
Yes.
I think it's Exodus 23. And I absolutely believe that God gave me this water. So I share it with the people that come in the clinic. And since incorporating the water, I get great results with the technologies I use. But we've had a couple of people who have come out of wheelchairs, usually following surgery. So one shared his testimony publicly, and I can talk about that. He fell down and broke his arm, and they did a nerve block and did surgery on his arm. When he woke up, he was paralyzed. And they sent him to a couple of big name hospitals here in the United States to try and find an etiology for this paralysis, and they couldn't find the cause. And we had some mutual circles that put us in touch, and so they reached out to me and said, would you be willing to work with this guy? I said, absolutely. So I went up there. He was a physician, and if he hadn't experienced some of this stuff before, then he may not have believed in it. But we had a consultation, and within about 45 minutes, I had him standing. And I said, text me tomorrow and let me know how you feel. He says, I reverted back to normal. I said, okay, I think this is about how many sessions that we need to work with you. And we went further into a conversation. He drinks hydrogen water, so he already had that component. And came down. Within 3 days, we went from, well, the first day we went from wheelchair to I had him on his back, moving his legs, doing exercises supine. And he went to lunch, came back, and then I had him sitting and standing out of a chair that same day. Second day, came in on a walker. That's what it was. Left and went to lunch, came back, still using the walker. Third day, came in, and I think he was using a cane. And this is a guy that wasn't able to lift his leg an inch off of the bed the week prior whenever I met him. And I just had another case like that who she's drinking hydrogen water and had back surgery to fix a chronic lower back issue. Came in a wheelchair, wasn't able to use her legs. And I tell you what, man, she walked out on a walker yesterday. I've been working with her for a couple of weeks. And I said, I don't want to see that wheelchair when you come back because you're walking. And it's stuff like that all the time. We've got people who have been told that they have permanent nerve damage and they would never be able to move their feet again. And they're feeling and wiggling all 5 toes, and they're moving their feet and walking around, balancing on one leg and picking things up off of the floor. And it's not me. I've been blessed with the opportunity to walk with these people along their journey, and God has just given me the tools to be able to show them that there's another way.
Oh man, that's it's emotional for me because this is one of the biggest driving forces for me in this business is my mom, because she's no longer with me. She passed away in 1990, and she was a victim of the whole practicing medicine thing. She was on 22 different medications. She had a 6th grade education because she could never stay healthy long enough to make it through a school year. To me, it's amazing to me that I'm here, that I'm healthy, because I was the second to the last of 12 children that she had. And she had so many different body parts removed. And she developed a cyst on the backside of one of her kidneys that poisoned her spinal fluid, turned her into a vegetable, and in 4 days she was gone. And I firmly believe with all my heart, now that I understand this water, that had her body had this tool, that she'd still be here with me today, barring some sort of a catastrophic accident or something. And so, yeah, this kind of stuff really hits me hard. The first time I watched Dr. Oz video, I cried through the whole thing. I literally was bawling my eyes out through the whole thing because my mom was a sick child just like him. And so it just hit me so hard. And it's a huge part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, is because I so badly want to help other people and have them not suffer like that. And this is just absolute pure gold. You coming in here and explaining this stuff and telling these stories, and it's making me cry. And because I even cried at Rocky 5. But, I wanted to ask Thomas real quick if he had anything that he would like to ask you or something like that. Do you have any questions for Ian, Thomas?
Yeah, on nerve damage, how long does it take for a nerve to regenerate, to start working the process to start getting back to where it's doing what it was functioned to do in the first place? Is there a time limit on that? Because I've noticed it was 2011 I had the surgery, and it wasn't until, 3 years ago I haven't had any problems since. Let's put it that way. But the only thing I got rid of with all the acidities and started with this water only 3 years ago. So I really haven't had any flare-ups or any major problems because at one time the nerve damage would hit so hard in the bottom of my foot and go from the foot all the way to my groin and just put me on the floor in a fetal position of pain, So is there a time frame? Because what was it? Somebody said about as half as fast as your fingernail grows back is a nerve will regenerate itself.
Millimeter a month. So that is a fully loaded question, sir. Obviously, it's going to be circumstantial, and a lot of that is going to have to do with a body that's in an inflamed, acidic environment, a body that is perpetually destroying itself. So you've got some sort of immune antibodies that are fighting against the body, and it starts to malfunction. And that's what we refer to as autoimmune conditions. So you're constantly trying to do things to make yourself healthy, and your body is kind of eating itself because things are malfunctioning. That body is not going to be able to regenerate that tissue because that body's not going to be able to heal. In a perfect world, if you've got the right environment to promote healing, then the general consensus is about 1 millimeter a month. That being said, there are things that you can do similar to the work that I do, and I'm not the only practitioner that does what I do. If you message me on Facebook, I can give you a list of locations, and you can see if there's somebody that's close to you that can do this type of work, and you've already got the component of putting good gas in the tank, right? So, and you've got the vehicle to get you there. Yes. And so I'll put that to another component, and this is more of a theory, okay? But if you look at left brain and right brain, if you are open to the possibility that your body can heal and that your body can fix itself, and you keep an attitude of, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make right decisions, and I'm going to eat clean, and I'm going to, pray, do whatever you need to do, meditate, keep your body in that state of, I know I'm getting better, I know I'm doing everything for myself. You will activate that creative side of your nervous system and actually create an environment in your body that supports health and vitality. Versus somebody who gets wrapped up in the anxiety of everything that's wrong and says, I'm just going to be this way for the rest of my life. Things are never going to get better. Why try? Whether you say you can or you can't, you're right, is the old adage, right? So 1 millimeter a month, but you can substantially increase that with the right environment. And in neuroscience, we call that the principle of specificity, or the SAID principle. It's specific adaptation to imposed demand. The body will get better at whatever you repeatedly ask it to do. So if that's hook up to a machine that speeds healing by 50%, because we can say that, and drink good water to make sure that you're hydrated, that your body can get all those nutrients from the good food that you're eating everywhere they need to go, then I can say that you will have a substantially better chance of recovery and quality of life than somebody who's not doing the same thing. I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry to be more specific.
Definitely did. That's what I've had to work on, is this, to work on my inner self, to know that, okay, what is ailing me? Because I know my body the best. You know your body the best. So you know what's hurting. So I was able to start using a thought process and emotions to get rid of the pains that I was having. When the nerve damage was happening, then I would stop and get into not today. I do not feel these pains. They are releasing themselves from my body. My nerves are rehealing themselves. So that's how I got back in tune with me, to be able to work myself through the process. And then when this water came along, that just enhanced my process even more. So I am thankful each day that for people like you that are out there helping and assisting others and giving them the informed information that they need to know that there is other ways to be able to help yourself without the doctors and pharmaceuticals. So thank you for everything that you do to help and move people over there in your area. Thank you every day.
Likewise.
Wow. You know, Ian, I didn't know whether you knew Thomas or not. You know, Thomas is one of my heroes, one of my mentors, and he's changed my life drastically in the last 6 months. You know, we do a morning motivation thing that he puts on every morning just before this show. And it's really a life-changing thing. And we talk every day about the very things that you're talking about as far as the mind is concerned. And I know that from being involved with that for the last 6 months, it has really made a ginormous difference in my life. And heck, my wife even recognized it last week. But yeah, this is just so invaluable stuff. This is great. I'm so happy that you came on with us today. And I've got a question that I love to ask everybody. And somehow I have this feeling that your answer to this is going to be off the charts. But this is a question you have, so because this is the Kong family show, and we are talking about Kong and water for the most part, you know, because we all know that it's really the single most important thing that a human being can do for their machine. You know, yes, there's other components, but this is the most important one. Yep. And so you've got somebody out there that's him-hawing, they're curious, or, you know, yeah, whatever, you know, water's water, yeah, maybe it's not. And you got one thing you can say to them. You only get one thing. You only got just a minute or two, you know, and you got one really important thing you need to let them know. What is it?
Well, I'll try to live up to your expectations on that one. I would tell them that their health is an investment and not an expense, and they need to do everything that they can to try and change their mindset and look at this from an open mind and an open perspective, because it's not whether or not you can afford a machine. We don't sell machines. We introduce people to a lifestyle. It's that you need to recognize that you can't afford not to get a machine, because you're going to pay for it now or you're going to pay for it later, one way or another.
Man, isn't that the absolute truth, brother? I always say Kong doesn't cost, he pays.
Yep.
You know, he pays in more ways than one. You know, just like the ways that Kong has paid me in the last 2 years is way beyond those checks that come in the mail. I mean, it's the checks that come in the mail are not even a thing, you know. And it's like, I got my brother that I'm trying to get him to get a machine. I've been talking to him about taking the 21-day challenge and buying his machine and using it for 21 days. And if he decides after 21 days of actually using it that he doesn't want it, he wants to send it back, I'll take care of his restocking fees and won't cost him a dime. And an opportunity came along for him to get a machine for half price. One of our fellow Kong family members has like 4 machines, and he decided he didn't need one, and he put it out for sale. And I told my brother, hey, you know, here's an opportunity to get a machine. You know, you can get it for half price. No, the 21-day challenge is out the window. But my point of that is that I just want people to get their machine. I don't care where they get them from. I don't care whether they get it from me or you or whoever they get it from. Just get the machine. You know, I had a gal who came on and got money or got water from me for a couple weeks or so, and then she ended up going and buying her machine from somebody else. And I didn't get mad at her. I said, congratulations, you got your machine. If you need any help, get a hold of me. Let me know what I can do. And, you know, anything you need. I'm here to help anybody, no matter whose group they're in, no matter where they are, anything like that. And I think that's what makes this family so special, is that there's a lot of people that are in this family that's their attitude. They're just here to help people get the water. They want to change lives, and the money is secondary, and they understand the laws of attraction and positivity, that, You know, if you just do the right thing and do good things for people all the time, eventually it's going to come back to you, and it's going to come back to you in spades. And with all of that said, one of my big goals with this show is to get people who resonate with each other hooked up. Get people, you know, there might be people, because this is getting recorded, it's going to go onto YouTube, you're going to get a copy of it, it's going to get shared out all over the place. And who knows who's going to resonate with you and hear this, and they're going to go, oh my Lord, I need this is the prayer, this is the answer to the prayers that I've been having, you know, and I got to get a hold of Ian. So I would love to give you an opportunity right now to give all of our listeners whatever information you want to give them, as much information as you want to give them, contact information, phone numbers, websites, you know, the address of your clinic, whatever. You give them whatever information you want to give them, so that if they're watching this, you know, tomorrow or a year from now or 10 years from now, that they can get a hold of you and they can change their life for the better.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I would be happy to. I actually advocate for people who suffer from chronic pain, and I teach people about complex regional pain syndrome from my own experiences and knowledge of how the body works. And so anybody can feel free to reach out to me personally on Facebook with a message of how they found out about me or got to know me. I post a lot of things publicly on my profile, so just because I'm not friends with somebody doesn't mean that they can't see things that I'm posting. You have the ability to follow, but I put a lot of things out on business Instagram and Facebook page as well, as far as just informational nuggets, and then on my business page we're always posting testimonies. So social media is definitely where it's at for staying in contact, staying in touch, and staying informed. And the business name is Nuclear, Neuclear, Health and Fitness. So you can actually find us on Facebook or Instagram at Nuclear Health and Fitness / Nuclear Health and Fitness. Not misspelled nuclear, we're sending clear signals through the nervous system. www.neuclear.fit, nuclear.fit. That's our website. My business number is area code 501-500-1663. And I will tell you, before somebody tries calling me, I'm in appointments with people that last usually about an hour at a time, literally from sun up to sundown. I had to schedule this interview, and I'm booked out several weeks in advance because I work with people. I've got clients from all over the globe that I work with on a regular basis, and it keeps me very busy. But if you take that number and you send me a text message, again, with a little bit of background information, it is my office line, but it accepts text. So tell me who you are, where you're from, and what information you need, and I'll try and help you. We're in Bentonville, Arkansas, about 2 blocks away from the home office, Walmart home office. I work with people in a variety of situations, and we have a team of community partners, whether they be functional medicine physicians, naturopathic physicians, neurologically based chiropractors, nutritionists, massage therapists, Bowen therapists. We've got a team of individuals that we can refer to help people be successful. And obviously we do the Kongan education and teach people about how to stave off the inflammation and chronic stress in the body so that they can live healthy and functional lives. And that's my passion, and that's what we do.
That is awesome. What do you think about that, Thomas? Did we get a big gift this morning?
Everybody who's catching the replay on this, if you weren't paying attention, you need to, because the man just gave out some information and some knowledge and some things that you can do to shift your life, and then, you know, how it all works. Now, he gave you all the information to be able to reach out to him. So now you can contact him. You can hit him up on Messenger, whatever you need to, and then get something for your life that's going to move you in a better direction. So once again, thank Mr. Roo for coming out with us today. Thank you for everything that you're doing and shifting lives and letting everybody know that we are here to change the world, one person at a time. So those that are looking for something more, looking for a little assistance, reach out to the man, because he will be able to put you in the right direction.
Amen. One thing I would like to point out to everybody that that just listened to that, or that's going to be listening to that and read. If you could do him a favor, when you send a message, or you send him that friend request, make sure to send him a message along with it that says, "Hey, Ian, I saw you on the Conk Family Show, or I saw you somewhere on Facebook, whatever, and I just wanted to hook up with you. I got this, that, or the other. But just give him a little bit of a heads up who you are and why the heck you're sending him a friend request, because I know if he's anything like me, he gets lots of friend requests and deletes a lot of them because they won't tell you why and that kind of thing. And so you do the common courtesy of telling him why the heck you're sending him a friend request, because sometimes Facebook is a little bit scary when it comes to the people that send you friend requests. It's like, I don't want to be friends with that person, and so that's just awesome information. And if you guys could just make sure to have the common courtesy to let him know why you're sending a friend request. As you can tell from listening to him, that he's extremely busy. And Ian, I'm just so grateful that you're willing to take the time to come in here with us. This is, you're running around the clock, and taking some of your incredibly valuable time to jump in here with us and spread this magic, spread this love. It's just something that it is going to change the world. This is exactly how we change the world, by people being so gracious to step out, take a few minutes and help other people without any like, oh, I'm not helping you unless you pay me $500 an hour or whatever. There's a lot of people out there like that. And it's so, here in the Kong family, we're so blessed to have so many people who don't act in that manner. The money is secondary to helping people change their lives. And, so I'm just grateful as all get out that I've been looking forward to this ever since we scheduled it. And, this was special, and this one's really gonna resonate with a lot of people. And I just wanted to, because we're a little over an hour here. I'm sure you got to get to work, and I do too. But I was wondering if there's any last thing that you would like to drop on people. Just one last thing that you'd like to say that might help somebody.
I think I would, because you just touched on an issue that I took also whenever I first got into the alternative health and wellness realm. I saw a model in the Western medical system that was for profit and put people at the mercy of the individuals that were taking their money. And then I got involved with some people who claimed to be different from a chiropractic natural standpoint. And I saw that they had taken that Western model and they had just adapted it to other forms of treatment. And so people are still, having to leave everything that they own and potentially leverage everything that they own to try and gain back their health. And I broke away from that, took a huge risk, and decided I can do this. I can go out on my own. I don't need these other people. I can do my thing, and I can find the people to surround myself with, my team, right? Because that's what I was trying to do anyway. And so I will say a couple of things about that. If anybody wants to reach out to me, I am more than happy to talk. But again, please just be respectful of my time. It is very valuable. My services have been billed in the past as high as $400 an hour on a cash-based model. I did not earn $400 an hour off of that because expenses had to be paid to the corporation, which is why I love to promote small business, man, because now I've been able to basically cut that down by 2/3 and maintain everything. And so for what people used to pay for a day, they can now get a week of treatment. And I work with people on a remote basis also. So just like we're meeting up here, I can do everything that I need to do that way.
You guys, hang on. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is my sweetie. Gotta meet my sweetie Tina. This is my better 99%. She's headed off to work, and she's come down to give me my kiss. Love you, sweetheart. Have a great day. Sorry about that, Ian.
You're fine.
But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt there, but I got to give my sweetie her kiss. You know.
Absolutely. I was just saying that everything that I do, we also have a remote program that we work with people. So if people can't travel, I just want to get people the right information so that they can take charge of their health and they can get their lives back.
That was so awesome. Do you have anything else to add, Thomas?
Thank you for the blessings that you're giving out to everybody every day.
Yeah, what an awesome thing today, Ian. Thank you so much, buddy, for taking your time. I look forward to following you and learning more, and definitely would love to have you back on the show again sometime. You did punch on something that I wanted to ask you about, and maybe you'll help me with this, because Dr. Michael is one of my heroes. He was the first person that I really started learning from about this company. I've never met him. I've chatted with him on Messenger. He actually mentioned that he would be willing to come on the show, but I haven't been able to get him in here. I've been working on him. I've been sending him a message every week. And, maybe if you, I don't know, whatever. If you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. But hopefully you can say, hey, man, go in there. Go meet with Jay. Go drop some magic on him. And, because I really want to hear his story. I want everybody to hear his story personally. And I want to share it out to the world because it's really incredible. When I watched the story about his daughter, I freaking cried through that whole thing too. This stuff is really emotional for me, and it's a really huge part of my life. And it has literally become my passion in this world. When I got involved, I didn't want anything to do with the business, nothing. I bought the machine because it made sense for my health. And in 1993, I read the book World Without Cancer, and that book changed my life. And from that point on in my life, I've been proactive about my health. And so this was just another one of those proactive pieces about my health. Once I opened up my brain cell and decided to actually look at it, then it was like a no-brainer. I got to get this. And so it has really changed my life. And I have a tremendous passion to change other people's lives. And like I said before, I think the biggest aspect to changing lives with this product is sharing stories. And I think when my nephew hears this, because as soon as this is down or uploaded to YouTube and we have the link, I'm going to be sharing it over to him and saying, dude, you got to listen to this, because this is the answer to your prayers, buddy. And I've been telling him for a long time that it's the answer to his prayers, but he won't listen, and maybe he'll listen to you. He won't listen to me, but maybe he will you. And that's what I'm hoping and praying for. And I just want to thank you once again for taking your valuable time to come in here and give us so much golden information and that. And gosh, I look forward to having you come on again. And you were talking about, hey, that's going to take a whole nother show. I'm like, hey, let's get that other show going, because I want to bring valuable information to people through this platform 7 days a week, 365 days a year if I'm capable. With this particular thing, we might not be able to do it 365 days a year, but, my thought process is that, the millionaire mindset and the healthy lifestyle, it really doesn't take a day off. If you want to be healthy and you want to have the right mindset, you have to work on it every single day, and you don't get to take Sundays off. You don't get to take Mondays and off or whatever off, when it comes to working on the old brain cell. And so, yes, brother, thank you so much for taking your time to come out and meet with us today. And to everybody out there, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the people that are going to be watching the replays. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope you found a tremendous amount of value. We hope you find something that can help you change your life or change somebody else's life. And that's how we're going to go about changing the world, brother. And so as usual, everybody, don't forget your hugs. You got to get your hugs every day. HoooDeeeHoooo! Love you so much.
Thank
Roger,
you.
take care, buddy. And yeah, Ian, have yourself a great day. Have a great weekend. And God bless you and yours. And look forward to following you and getting more golden nuggets as we go along.
Same to you, JJ.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for having me on, brother.
Bye for now.
See ya.
Wow, Roger, was that crazy or what?
Yeah, totally crazy. A lot of knowledge what he has.